Welcome back to OinkGaming Gaming. I'm Drew, your host, CEO and founder of OinkGaming. And today what we're going to do is explore a little bit about claims. There's been a theory floating around that your claims, the resources that you get from those claims, are directly correlated to the biome that they're in. So if it's fire, it's steel, so on and so forth, right? Leather, it's desert, void. Desert and leather. I currently grabbed it was a claim 8. It was a tier 8, and I grabbed it, and it was leather, and I was like, ugh, I clearly don't need any more leather. You can see from down here I've got more leather than I know what to do with. What I really need is cloth. I had a wood claim. It built up real nice. My steel's been good. Honestly, going through and doing the dungeon quests now pretty much yields you enough basic resources to keep a steady stream coming in that you really don't have an issue. I could afford to build up my cloth claim, and so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find a cloth claim. But I also want to test, in the meantime, the theory that every biome is linked to a resource directly, because I don't think it's true. So far, it's always been true for me. But what we're going to do, I've got the mighty OinkGaming in a pair of tier 2 throwaway garbage. And we are going to pull off my tier 8 claim cleanly. It all comes back to me. Now you get to see all my gear that's coming back. And I can currently claim a tier 2. And so we're going to go ahead and grab this and see if the claim is directly correlated to... Oh, no, apparently I'm going to have to fight this because I need to probably Okay, that's not going to let me happen. We'll see if we can survive this battle. It's been a long time since I've worried about killing a goblin. But... you know, it's always good to go back. You can claim 2. Okay, let's find a 2 then. Oh, there's somebody on that. See that? Was that even on that before? I don't. Bleh. Okay. All right, here we go. Claim 2. We're in the fire biome. Will it give us steel? It does give us steel. All right, we'll just throw on our gear here real quick. And that is giving us a steel bar. Steel bar. When I put my cursor over it, I couldn't help but notice that it told me what the claim could be. So now we're going to withdraw this and put it all back on again because I like that gray, you know. That gray just feels right to me. We go equipment, we go tier 2, equipment, and we're going to throw it all back on again. A mighty pair of tier 2 stuff. And the first trophy I see is bark. All right, let's explore if all these claims here are going to give me steel. I'm not fully equipped. What just happened here? Okay, and we're back to getting ready to claim things. This claim would give me steel, as I suspected. This claim here give me steel. Alright, so we're on the hunt for a claim that's tier 2 that is in the fire biome that wouldn't give me steel. And so far they're all giving me steel. So that's interesting because it actually leads credence to the fact that everything is based on the biome. Steel. Steel. Alright, let's head this way into the cacti and see if it all is leather. Leather. And leather. We'll go to a different area here. You know, sometimes you definitely see, you know, trees, wood in lumber slots more often. Leather. One of these gave me an enchanted item. I will take that. We'll go visit our little store here. We'll try one of these cliffy thingies to see if that's also going to give me leather. Everything is saying leather. Yum. Hello. That's 2 enchanted in a row. Alright, let's get to these biomes. Alright, well I had a theory that wasn't true. I felt like it was kind of hit or miss, but now I'm feeling like it is true. I could have tested that, but I didn't. That's level 1. Go here, level 2. Nobody's on it. Leather. All right, we're going to make it up all the way up to here. Hopefully that's a 2. Oh, I got to choose something. We're going to make it up to this 2. And possibly start putting this theory, you know, Mythbusters here. Myth is true. Leather. All right, let's go into the wood biome. This I suspect is wood. Yeah. Yeah. Wood. There's a nice little subset here. Wood. Yeah, okay. And I'm noticing also that the resource it sometimes gives you does differ. So this one would give you cloth, but the biome gives you wood. So, you and me together have just learned cloth, wood. So I think we've just solved that riddle. The biome is directly correlated to the resource. If you want wood, you go forest, what is it, nature. If you want leather, you go void. If you want cloth, which is what I want, which is where I'm going to head next, you go tundra. And if you want steel, you go fire. Since steel is the most valuable, and it's the most valuable because it's used not only in armor, but extensively in weapons, and oftentimes two-handed weapons takes 4, sometimes 6 steel. Steel is, frankly, the most valuable of the four builds. Plus, the 95% build, everybody should have at least one 95% build. That's usually a steel build. So, steel is usually the most common, and thus you'll see the most claims in the fire area. But you and I have learned together today that the biomes do link directly to the resources they give. Boom. Here we are in the ice biome. We're going to look for the best claim that we possibly can for cloth. It may just be a 6 or a 5 for now. I'm not sure I have the gear to pull off a 6. We'll go to the ice build while we do this. When you're trying to do a whole area and look for the best land, you can look as far as 2 squares to your right and to your left. And so you're going to kind of position yourself like this. And we're just going to literally walk looking for the highest. So 4s are the highest there. And we are obviously looking for a 5 or above. Frankly, probably not a 5. A 5, I'm not even sure I have the gear to pull off a 5 or 6 because I usually just clean them out. So I'm really looking for a 6 or above at the moment. 7 would be optimal. And every so often I will walk this territory now just like this. All right. Oop, I could have turned right there. And I'm going to walk it in a square pattern. It's going to optimize how quickly I can search an entire biome by walking a square pattern. And I'm just grabbing whatever keeps me moving because I'm not really looking to waste a lot of time doing this. So I look at both options, but I pick the one that doesn't have an auto resolve just because it's one less click. Don't care about killing one mob at a time. Haven't seen anything above a 4, which would be in alignment with the luck I expect. About that, ooh, here's a little enchanted material. Put it in the pile with the rest. We need to go one more, and then we're going to take a hard turn right. I'm assuming my guy's facing, you know, this way because he's walking that direction. Nobody walks sideways, right? I won't be able to see these 2 squares, but I'm not too worried about it. And now we're walking straight down. Of course, the path, sometimes this path is you know, it's not highlands, and you can just move right through it. It's no big deal. But sometimes it is, and you just got to take your time and do the path. You can do this, and there's a 5 right there. So that's our best bet as of right now. A 5 cloth may not even really, frankly, be worth it. I would expect to be ridiculed by some of the old-timers. If they saw an OinkChing with a tier 5 claim, they'd be like, what are you doing? But my desperation for cloth, I mean, desperation's not the right term. I'm not desperate for cloth. I don't know why I chose that ruby. I don't care. Level 2 ruby. I'm not desperate. It's just of the different materials that I desire. Went too far there. I went to the left. You know, it's the one that I need. So whatever I can get, I'm going to take until that builds up to the 20s. There's a 6 right there. Again, I don't think I even have tier 6 material to do it, but we'll go craft something real quick. Now we're going to want to walk around it because we do not want to, it's an enchanted weapon, so we'll take that. We do not want to obviously get that check marked. You know, just in this little walk around, we've picked up, to my point, now we've seen all these before, and so now that you've done it, you can go 2 over. So technically where that 6 is, over, up, over, up. And now I'm walking down the middle. Well, I saw both of these, right? And I saw both of these. So in a single kind of square, you can now see all of the map at least once, and you can be looking for where do you want to place a claim. So you can see that wasn't very long at all. I'm going to go all the way to the top, and these are the last ones I hadn't seen. I'm going to go one more, and that's it. So 6 is the highest. So now we're going to go ahead and use that same slot I was using, which was my fire slot right here. I was starting to put together the 6s because I figured, 6 is going to be the thing I need. Go to 6, equipment. I've got a cloth helmet. I'm missing gloves. Trophy, don't much care. We'll throw one in there that doesn't much matter. Cloth gloves. So we just got to build some gloves. Whatever. Crafting. I've got a plethora of options. I'm just going to pick the first one I see. We're going to go tier 6. And we're going to craft this sucker. Oh, I just happen to have 3. Wonderful. I'm going to slap those on. Equipment. 6. Equipment. I keep doing that out of order. You can tell I'm an efficiency guy. I can now claim 6. It always gives you that warning, which is nice. And I'm going to march down there. And for good measure, you should also just reset. Just relog. Alright, relogging just makes sure that everything is reset, and I found it to be more useful. There's my claim. It's going to give me cloth. I guess I'll take it. Not a particularly impressive claim, to say the least, neither by armor or by type. But if I lost all of that resource, it would be like, whatever. I mean, if I broke down all of those different elements, level 6s, again, it's going to be, I break them down to, I don't use level 6s anymore. So they're not worth 3 materials, they're only worth 1 material each. So if this lasts an hour and a half, it essentially paid for itself, switching everything into cloth, and everything after that is a bonus. I'm not too worried. People have not been particularly aggressive in taking claims. You'll see a couple dozen a day, maybe. So you're pretty safe just hanging in there. I don't know what the fastest way is to look for my... Yeah, that's not it. Not it. Fire attuned equipment. Equipment, fire. I guess that is the fastest way. We were using this guy. Using this guy. Yum, yum, yum. Using this guy. Right now I still got just kind of one of everything, so it's pretty easy to find what I'm looking for. I must be using... Was I using a two-handed? Yeah, I was. This guy's goofy. It's got a level 10 emerald. I should drop it and switch it, frankly, to something else, which I might just go do now because I'm thinking about it. I think I was using a dual yield. I'm ready to switch out of the dual yield. Dual yields are fine. They get the job done, and they oftentimes can win battles that two-handeds can't. But it certainly takes longer, I have found. Those those two-handers, you get 1 crit and you're halfway done with the battle. Someone and I forgot who. I think we finished off Boris in 2 rounds yesterday. Just 2 of us. We both hit our crits twice. Done. Boris is done. 2 rounds. You can't lose to Boris if you can kill him in 2 rounds. Anyway, all right, we'll get this situated and we'll move on to a new topic. So we're examining that Kyle's Might that I built with it. It was a tier 10 fire ruby. It's a shame that gets wasted, but that's, sometimes you waste things when you're naive. It's called the newbie costs. So I stuck a tier 10 ruby in this. Wrong move. You should be using orbs. In all your weapons and your shields, orbs. The only time you can use your orbs are on those items, and they do way more interesting things than just a raw ruby. If you think about it, a ruby tier 10 gives you 1% attunement and then 10% damage. 10% damage on a weapon that does 125 in its own right, after I whetstone this, 125 is an increase of, 8.9, 8.8%, something like that. I'm rounding, doing in your head math. Meh, right? A scorching, orb of scorching will do 25% damage. Well, 25% damage on 125 is more like 30.5 damage more. Now that's only when it hits its critical, but its critical is at 43%. So on average, you'll get more damage out of a Orb of Scorching than you will out of a Tier 10 Ruby stuck on a weapon. The Tier 10 Ruby will be consistent, more consistent at the cost of greater damage with a weapon that hits this hard. Now, if I were using two-handed, right, I could put a Tier 10 on one and Tier 10 on the other. They both now do, if they topped out, most one-handers are around 60. So adding 10 is actually not a 10% increase. It's more like a 19% increase or 18% increase of damage. And that's consistently 18%, which is better than 25% inconsistently. So these are all just kind of math formulas. Now, the reason I'm looking at these other ones here, well, he does dodge a lot. I mean, Wynn and Ragnar do a lot of dodging, and with a weapon like this, hey, you just want to hit him. The question isn't what will work. At this point, it's very easy to defeat both of those. In fact, at most points, it's very easy to defeat those. And that became pretty clear to me when I pulled together this data set. Oh, another data set. Another video, another data set. This was a spreadsheet I built primarily for coordinates. Early on in the game, I couldn't remember where things were. I built this spreadsheet. And then I added the boss. So here's the boss. Right? In fact, it makes more sense now to add the boss here. Because this is all about the boss fights now. You know, what is it? Is it a town or dungeon? These four are the dungeons in the own world. These four are the towns. And then these five are the bosses of the seed worlds. And what I did yesterday was went and battled them and then figured out by tier how much they increase. Well, they all increase consistently by tier. Every tier, these are for bosses, every tier increased. I haven't looked at mobs. I don't care about mobs. Mobs are not difficult. Why collect a data set on something that doesn't matter? That's a waste of resources. This is on bosses. For every tier of a boss, they gain 15 health, they gain 2 defense, and 5 attack. You can, in theory, I suppose, you can meet, especially in the own world, bosses that are below tier 5. In fact, you often meet tier 3 and 4, Winds and Borises. That's commonplace. But for consistency's sake, I kept all of this as just the tier 5 level. What would their tier 5 criteria be? And then I looked at what their tier 10 would be. I'm also looking at initiative, which I don't know if it increases. It's a separate study to figure out where everybody's initiative, but I'm starting to put that data in there as well. Whatever initiative I'm at, I can figure out at least if they're greater than or less than my initiative by the initiative I've got. Eventually, I'll go back and test the initiative of every boss, get it down to a number, and then figure out if it tiers as well. Maybe as they get higher, maybe their armor pen also goes up or their initiative goes up. That would be a deeper study. Again, this is an initial study. But this is the criteria for these different bosses. Now, you got to keep in mind not just the damage, but what type of damage they're doing as you figure out how to counter them. But what you see here, essentially, is that the easiest boss, without a doubt, is Wynn. Second lowest health by a decent amount. This is tier 5 data. Kind of average defense. The best attack, but it's scorching, so there's no benefit, frankly, to him. He can't. If you're a dodge build, which is dousing, you're good against him. If you're an armor build, you're good against him. If you're blocking, you're good against him. All defensive types work against Wynn. All defensive types look to mitigate the damage from Wynn. As a result, it's very easy to beat Wynn because you can build up your defense and then you're good to go. You can pretty much cruise. He tops out at level 10. I've never seen a level 10 own world. It would be awesome if I saw one. I would totally take it. He tops out, frankly, here with 735 health, 38 defense, and 110 attack. I developed this yesterday because I got interested in the Void Stone. I was playing around with the Void Stone, and I wondered, well, the Void Stone is 40 plus 40 armor pen. That's a lot of armor pen. I mean, a lot of armor pen. And so I built the tier 10 Void Stone, and then I went to enchant it. Let me show you what happened. We'll come back to this Kyle's right in a second. The Void Stone. here is a normal Void Stone. When you craft a Void Stone, boom, you get plus 40. Plus 40 armor pen right out of the gate. Pretty monstrous, pretty awesome. You can socket a Void Stone, so you can stick a gemstone in it. But when you enchant a Void Stone, the armor pen disappeared. So as I put this on, my armor pen does not go up by 40. It doesn't say it should go up by 40, and it didn't go up by 40. So an unenchanted Void Stone gives you plus 40 armor pen. So if you're going to wear a Void Stone, you're going to be unenchanted. That's basically an automatic -5 attunement to wearing a Void Stone. Okay? Automatic. Now, everything you wear is going to have, if it's got 1 socket slot, 6 and or 11 attunement based on the gemstone. So you're still going to be able to put a gemstone in this and get 1% attunement, but you're going to be out the possibility of 5% attunement. This makes Void Stones particularly interesting in early builds where you're looking to build up one set of armor that's decent against all. However, in order for armor pen to help you, right, I've got armor pen 5 already at this moment due to something. I don't know what. Something is giving me armor pen, probably this topaz right there. Yep, topaz. So this build's already got 5 armor pen. What I've realized now is armor pen is least useful against bosses with little to no armor. Well, here's Win. At level 5, he's got 28 armor pen. So that plus 40 armor pen I'm getting from the Void Stone, 12 of that is wasted. Especially if I'm already wearing a topaz and I've got 5 armor pen coming in. Now I'm at 45 armor pen. All of that over 28 is being wasted if I'm fighting a level 5 Win. When you jump down to the Fire World and you get Ragnar, it's even worse. Ragnar only carries 8 armor at tier 5 and therefore 18 armor at tier 10. So Void Stone and armor pen against fire is the least valuable thing you can have. Least valuable thing. You're wasting most of it. However, in Deep Blue against Hydro's very defensive. I assume people said things to him, and he's got a high ego of himself. And when people have a large ego and then people criticize or defeat you in battle, you get very defensive. And he maxes out at 68 defense. So topazes, but particularly Void Stones, maximize their value as long as the defense, armor pen, the enemy's or boss's armor is greater than your armor pen. Then you're getting the full use of your armor pen. So I enchanted my Void Stone. That was a mistake, or I think it's a mistake. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't yet studied the total value of enchanting a ring versus an Allure's Talisman versus a Blood Ring versus a Void Stone. And I say total value, you have to understand that Cortez's objective is not to create meta suits. He actually wants everything to be really even, that your percentage chances are fairly even if you're maxed down a particular build, and then the challenge dictates what's the right set. And so you can see this when you look at crafting. Most everything has got variants that tweak a few things. So the two-handed armor gives you 30 base damage, okay, but 8 armor pen. 30 base damage, but 8 armor pen. When you go to the two-handed axe, you pick up 4 damage, but you lose 8 armor pen. So which one's better? Well, it seems to be that Cortez has designed a plus 2 armor pen equals 1 base damage. Plus 2 armor pen equals plus 8 damage. Now, we've already seen this two-handed hammer does 8 armor pen, which if you were fighting a level 5 Ragnar, would make it as if you're fighting a level 5 Ragnar with no armor. Which is much stronger, well, much stronger, marginally stronger, than this two-handed axe against Ragnar. Okay? But if you're fighting something without any armor, all of that armor pen is wasted on the two-handed. So this is a situational thing, and he seems to have calculated 2 armor pen to 1 damage. As you look around, you can start to figure out a little bit of how he's considering things. This gives you 30 base damage plus 40 critical damage. Okay, Crit damage is modified by crit chance. And so he's calculating here that if this has got the same base damage as the two-handed hammer, 30 and 30, that 8 armor pen is equal to 40 plus critical damage. And you can start to build a calculation there of variables that equal out to each other. Well, you can also see that kind of playing out in your accessories. So if we just look at, I wonder if I can type in the word accessories and just get no. No. All right, we'll go with Alora's Talisman because I have so many of them. And we'll just look down here at the level 8s for a sample set. They all have different, oh, these aren't enchanted. I gotta look at enchanted ones. You can see this has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 bonuses of varying degrees. I'm going to go here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 bonuses of varying degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 again. So, is this an outlier? Ooh, I got an 8 bonus one. Or do the sum total of all of them equal? Meaning, this one gives you plus 4 damage. One of these gives me plus 6 damage. Is plus 2 damage considered one piece of the puzzle? And so this has less total things, but it has consolidated and given you better versions of the things it does have. And so I'm working right now on figuring out what are the variables. What is it? Plus 2 damage? Is that considered one piece, right, of these different things? I've got a on this set a blood ring that's got 8, right? Is that common? Do blood rings, if plus 2 damage equals 1, and so this Alora's Talisman is using 3 variables, sum total in the damage section, is it possible then to work backwards and figure out how much bonus an Alora's Talisman gives you besides the socket spots? How much bonus a blood ring gives you besides the single socket spots? And then, what is the meta coming from? So I'm working on that. That's going to be another data set that I show you. But we've explored now a little bit of how the thinking goes into boss builds. I am interested in using a unenchanted Voidstone against Hydro and to see just how much damage that pushes the whole thing up. In addition, you face Leviathans, and I haven't written the stats down of Leviathans, but I'm going to put them here when I get them. The next Leviathan I'm going to grab, put the data here. I need to fight 2 of different levels to see what the gradient is, how much things go up by the level, and then I'll have the Leviathan added in here. But a Voidstone, instead of an enchanted something for Deep Blue, might end up being better if plus 40 armor pen is in fact worth greater than what you get out of enchanting the other accessories. Or it could also be that every time you enchant or you get an enchanted accessory, the benefits are different. This one's worth 10 variables and this one's worth 12 variables, and you would only know that if you dissect the variables. Ultimately, it's all about build type. So, plenty more to explore as we try to find what is the optimal point in this game. And we'll, of course, be exploring that together because I don't have the answers. I just have the questions and a spreadsheet, which is frankly all you need.